for this wonderful episode,
Yep.
we're going to be talking about a well-hated game
Yes.
on the internet, and I don't hate it.
No, I don't either. I have issues with it, certainly. It's not a perfect game. Obviously, once you know what this is, maybe even from the title, you probably know what it is already. Simon's Quest.
Castlevania 2. Yeah, they broke away from the original style, but let's face it, back then, that's what happened. If you go to the Legend of Zelda series, Part 2 was completely different. This one, clearly completely different. Ninja Gaiden. They did do a change up by the third one. It was not
Turtles
set in stone. Turtles, yes, it was another one. They changed it. Super Mario. All the number 2s is because they were trying to experiment at this point because they didn't know what games were going to be.
Like you said, really different from the first one. It was more of an RPG element to the game. Of course, they bungled a couple things like the NPCs are pretty much useless. It's all gibberish. It's all
obscure what they try and tell you. You can't use them as a reference. Now, back then when you played video games, however, almost all of them were like that. They were very obscure and you had to figure out where you had to go.
This was a Nintendo Power game.
I say musically this game sets a tone in the series.
Amazing soundtrack. There's like a few similar tracks to the first one, but for the most part,
this is
all original tracks on this game. So.
Yeah, it's all original tracks and it picks up, and a lot of these get used in different games later on in the series.
As much as this game's hated, the soundtrack is so iconic. Mm-hmm. Like you got Bloody Tears, which is one of the best Castlevania games ever in any of the series.
Absolutely. So. Color palette wise, it is a very dark game, and it's meant to be. You're meant to have a very dark atmosphere in this. You're almost meant to feel alone in this game, and I think it does a very good job of that.
And of course, there's the famous day-to-night transitions, which
people hate it.
Again, people hate. I like them for it's something different.
It was ambitious.
Yeah.
And it was, there's games like Friday the 13th that show you it can be done well. But this came out before then, and this one was trying to do something that hadn't been done. Let's talk about gameplay.
It's Castlevania, so therefore
very similar. It's got the hit back. When you get hit, you
get stiffness of Castlevania games.
Very stiff. You can't change direction in the air. When you whip things, it is a powerful whip, but you have to upgrade yourself with it, and where the RPG elements come in with this.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like where it completely strays off from the original Castlevania, where obviously the items are just given to you. It's like, oh, you got your whip upgrades, you got your extra items, they're just there. Pick them up and use them. This one, it again goes back to RPG element. You really have to search for things to get to the next area, otherwise you're pretty much screwed.
This game is also very non-linear. You can pretty much go anywhere. For the most part, there are a couple areas that are restricted, but for the most part, you can go get a very powerful whip right off the hop, which was, I actually suggested doing something like that. Go and get your powerful whip first, and then it makes the game a little bit easier for you. So gameplay-wise, yes stiff, yes hard, but if you just take the time to master your controls, you'll have no problem with this game. One thing I'm going to bring up is that this is the very first game in my life that farming was used. I had to farm the hearts, and it was the very first time I ever had to do something like that.
Grinding, pretty much.
Yeah, grinding your way through. Yeah, farming the hearts out of the people so that you can afford all these different things that you have to deal with throughout your adventure.
It's actually kind of interesting you bring that up, because that's kind of one thing they screwed up. In the old Castlevania games, the hearts were your ammo.
Yeah, ammo, yeah.
Yeah, and then now they're currency. It's just really, I mean...
But the nice bit about that is that there is no ammo in this game.
True, yeah, very true.
It's unlimited, so that's kind of cool. The story, basically, Dracula has been separated in his body parts and put across all these different castles.
Yep.
He is starting to rise again, and it's your job as Simon Belmont to collect all of Dracula's pieces, bring them back to the castle, and kill Dracula.
And not only that, in the first game, after you kill Dracula, he put a curse on you, which is pretty much the whole point of Simon's Quest.
Yeah.
He's got to break this curse. Which involves bringing together Dracula and killing him.
Yeah. The nice thing about getting body parts from Dracula is it always adds a different ability to yourself.
Yeah.
One, I believe it's the knee or something. I can't remember what it is, but it gives you a shield. There's another thing that allows, like, everything does something.
Yeah.
You know, like there is a point to everything that you get into this, and it adds to your adventure. My first con on this game would be invisible floors.
Yes.
There's no way to tell unless there's a slime flying up through it if there's going to be a hole there.
Yep.
So basically you have to whip holy water everywhere you go, which is
kind of annoying.
Alarming.
It's a really shitty sound, yeah.
It's not a very nice sound. No. So that's my first con.
For me, my first con, it would have to be the day to night mechanic. Again, I like that it's there. I don't like how they do it.
My first pro, I'm going to say, is the non-linear aspect of this game, being able to go anywhere and do anything for the most part.
My first pro, I would have to say, probably the music. I absolutely love this soundtrack so much. Again, there's so many iconic tracks that came from this game that people associate with Castlevania, but maybe don't actually know it came from this game.
Final con for myself is the obscurity as to what you have to do sometimes. There are points where you have to duck behind a waterfall and wait for the water to go down. That doesn't really give you any indication as to how to do that. So not knowing what to do and no indication on how to do it is definitely a con.
You know what, for me, I'm just gonna have to add to that one. For me, that's really what breaks this game and why I can see people don't enjoy it. Because it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like, I'm stuck now. What the hell do I do? And again, people didn't have the internet back then, so you really had to have Nintendo Power to kind of figure out what's going on. So that really is a hindrance to how you enjoy this game.
And to end on a high note, my final pro would be the feel of this game. It honestly feels very dark. You really do feel alone in your adventure, that you are doing this on your own, and this is something you're going to have to conquer. I think that's a very, and probably one of the very first games that ever gave me that feeling.
I was going to say, I kind of have to add to that too. I mean, like you said, the darkness, just the fact that as soon as you start the game, everything's darker than the first one. So again, with that ominous music going on, the situation, it's like you're cursed. Yeah, no, they did a really good job with the presentation. Again, they just have those things they need to fix, right? So, yeah.
Okay, so overall score, Ed gives it a solid 6.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a little bit higher than what a lot of average people would do, just because I have a lot of faith in this game. I do love this game a lot, and it's something that I played a lot as a child, so I do have a little bit of a love for it, so it's going to get a little bit of a higher score because of that.
So for me, I'm really in the middle of it, so I really have to give it a 5 out of 10. For me, it's those things, the Castlevania stuff I love out of it. I do enjoy it. The things that are broken from it, that's at the point where I'm just like, Konami, you really kind of messed up with this, which is good to see that they went back to the original formula in 3. But again, there was so much missed potential from this game.
Absolutely.
That they kind of abandoned for other future installments of the series. So,
well, I mean, with that, I think this ends our episode of River City Review.
Yep.
We hope you enjoy it. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think about this. I mean, a lot of us doing this further is going to depend on if you guys like it or not.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we're going to be evolving constantly. So, any comments into how you think we should be doing this, please let us know. So again, I'm Max.
I'm Ed.
And see you guys later.